Who is Don Ukrainec?
Don Ukrainec is a school teacher and a small business owner, and I'm not a politician. This is my first endeavor in politics, and I'll be honest, never in my life did I think I'd be taking a plunge like this. It's not something that I aspired to, but when I went in the voting booth 2 years ago and I wanted to see what my choices were, there were none. And I went home and I told my wife, pinch me, I mean, are things that good around here? And so you sit back and you say, someone ought to run, someone ought to do something, and if you're the kind of person who says someone long enough, eventually someone becomes yourself. And that's how I got into this game.
You're running against one of the liberal lions of the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives, John Conyers.
Yes, one of the longest serving members, and you know, that's one of my knocks on John Conyers is 45 years. I mean, at what point are you responsible for your policies? 45 years is an awful long time to serve, and when I look at the way that this city, this region, has suffered in the past 20 years, I have to say, are people willing to do something about that? Is it time for change? And that's what drove me to run.
Do you have any realistic hope of beating a John Conyers?
You know, people have likened me to, instead of Don Ukrainec, Don Quixote. Yes, I do. I saw a poll that said that 44% of the people in this district would prefer to have someone other than John Conyers, and 15% of the people were undecided. To those folks, I want to say, the 44% of you and the 15, I'm the other. I'm your other opportunity, and if you'd like to see change, the only way to accomplish that is going to be to vote for someone else. I'm someone else.
What do you believe?
I believe that we've had a government that's been far too ambitious. It's gone astray from what the people ask it to do. And our government, quite frankly, the word I use for it is arrogant. An example would be with the health care bill where, you know, John Conyers famously had dismissed, I don't need to read the bill. That's his job. All right? I expect him to read the bill, or at least have his staff do it. I understand individuals is pretty tough to go through, what, 1,400 pages, which is another one of the problems our government has. Inside those 1,200 and 1,400 pages, they hid things like control of student aid. That's crazy. What does that have to do with health care? Or restrictions on people who buy gold. Totally unrelated. So one of the problems is 1,200-page bills. Another problem is racing them through. We've seen so much over the past year where they bring something out on Monday and say, we must have this by Friday or the world's going to end. No, it's not. The Congress was designed to be a deliberative body, and we don't see them doing much deliberation. So, you know, those are big issues that I have.
Size of government, the growth of government.
Government's expanded into way too many fields. And sadly, we've got a lot of people who look to the federal government to solve all their problems. They're going to be very disappointed, and I think they're being disappointed right now, because the federal government, quite frankly, doesn't have the money to solve all of our problems. And we need to look for the state and local people to get control back of their destinies and handle that. I'll give you an example. I'm a school teacher. We have this massive Department of Education, which has all kinds of rules and regulations. In the classroom, I don't see a positive effect of those regulations. They aren't making my lessons better or my kids smarter. So there are things that government really has no business, or federal government really has no business being in. I mean, we live in a state, Michigan, that was a land grant state, and one of the key things was local control of schools. We've taken it away.
The power of incumbency, though, in Washington and in politics is huge. He has a campaign war chest if he needs it. You don't.
Right.
How do you confront and combat and defeat someone like this?
One thing about his campaign war chest, I was doing some research this week. I saw 98% of his contributions came from outside the district. 90% from outside the state, 98% from outside the district. So who is he really representing in the House of Representatives? We have a huge uphill battle. And part of it is making contact with citizens. When I meet people, they aren't in love with John Conyers. Most of the people in the far southern reaches of the 14th don't even know that he's their representative. It's tragic, but they don't. So when they hear and they find out that they have an alternative, they're excited about it. But because of our financial situation, I mean, we're knocking on doors, handing out flyers, word of mouth. And that makes this a very, very big challenge in this campaign. That's why I appreciate this opportunity so much.
For Democracy 2010, Dave Llewellyn, Channel 7 Action News. All right.